Welcome officially, Sally. Good chat there. Some nice sharing of the path of letting go and what it's all about. And so here in the group, I posted that on the Telegram group. Now we're going to go into our teaching for today. Give me a moment to share my screen. All right, so there we go. There's the email for today, the quote. So if you read that, Sally, we'll just discuss it a bit and then go into the lesson.
75 years and $20 million expended on the grant study points to a straightforward 5-word conclusion. Happiness is love, full stop.
Which is not surprising when you understand, these spiritual principles. You've gone, well, you could have saved yourself $20 million. Yes, but it's useful to have done the study. It's a verification of the spiritual principle. So they did this study at Harvard University, started in the 1940s with a class that graduated, was actually the class that John F. Kennedy was in, funnily enough. So he was in the initial study. And they had various, so senators and politicians and bankers and some quite successful people, and they tracked them over their life. And they also did another study with another socioeconomic group who weren't as wealthy, and they tracked them and then also their families as well. And so they did this research over, it's now been going, I think, over 80 years. And they found that they're just these two primary factors that lead to happiness. The question was, what makes people happy? That was what the research study was about. Two primary factors that lead to happiness and life satisfaction. Number one, the warmth of their relationships throughout life. So love, you call it. And number two, coping with life in a way that doesn't push love away. So that was equally important. So whatever life's challenges were, they would cope with it in a way that doesn't deny love. So they found that people who use strategies like alcohol, drugs to cope were their happiness was very, very negatively affected. People who found a way of letting go of those challenges and not pushing love away and actually going closer to the people they loved through the challenges were inevitably much happier. The study also found some details that good relationships keep us happy and healthy. So they surveyed the people's health and well-being, particularly as they got older. Warm, loving relationships keep our brains healthy and prevent memory loss and dementia as we age. So there's a connection between love and loving relationships and mental health, particularly as we get older. And finally, the quality of our close relationships matter. It's not so much how many relationships you had, but do you have quality? So do you have if you've got a partner, a warm, loving relationship? If you've got friends, you don't have to have hundreds of friends, but if you've got a couple where there's closeness and there's a genuine connection, then that's what really made the difference in people's lives. So there's a little video that really summarizes these 3 points. If you want to watch it. And if we put these findings into Course in Miracles terminology, love, Jesha says in the introduction to the text, is beyond what can be taught. And removing the blocks to the awareness of love's presence are the keys to a happy life. This is what he's saying. So the research is just supporting what the course is saying. So if you want to read the whole quote, because we've read it before, but it's always worth rereading every now and then, just checking in, because this is really a summary of the whole course. He summarized it in the introduction very, very well.
This is a course in miracles. It is a required course. Only the time you take it is voluntary. Free will does not mean that you can establish the curriculum. It means only that you can elect what you want to take at a given time. The course does not aim to be at teaching the meaning of love, but that is beyond what can be taught. It does aim, however, at removing the blocks to the awareness of love's presence, which is your natural inheritance. The opposite of love is fear, for what is all-encompassing can have no opposite. This course can therefore be summed up very simply in this way. Nothing real can be threatened. Nothing unreal exists. Herein lies the peace of God.
Yeah. It's a beautiful summary of the whole course, isn't it?
Mm.
And really, really highlighting what's required. He's saying it aims at removing the blocks to the awareness of love's presence. That's what the course's scope is. He can't teach you the meaning of love. That will come when you're ready. That's why someone like Michael Singer said, it's not about samadhi. Forget that idea. It's about letting go. It's about removing the blocks to the awareness of love's presence. That's the whole deal. That's what you have to do to undertake the spiritual path. So if you're wondering why there's a statue next to the text, the statue of David, probably the most famous sculpture in the world, by Michelangelo. Why choose the statue? Well, because the block of marble, kind of one of history's most famous masterpieces, story is that it had been twice discarded by other sculptors. This was sitting there, no one had known what to do with it. When he finally got his hands on it, marble had been waiting for 40 years for someone who's up to its challenge. Okay? So it's like there's an opportunity that needed to be taken. Someone had to be willing to sculpt it. So what some people may consider to be worthless may actually be a masterpiece, just waiting to emerge when someone has the vision to see it for what it really is and the skill to do what's necessary to reveal its true value, as he explained. So the sculpture is already complete. You read that?
Sculpture is already complete within the miracle marble block. Miracle block. The sculpture is already complete within the marble block. Before I start my work, it's already there. I just have to chisel away the how do you say it?
Superfluous material. He would have said it in Italian, I guess, because he was Italian, but that's the translation. So very interesting that he saw it that way, isn't it? It wasn't like I'm creating something new. He didn't see it that way. He said, I just have to take away what's not the authentic David in this case. I just have to chisel away the superfluous material to reveal what's already there. What an interesting mindset process. And that's, I believe, why he was able to sculpt such a masterpiece, because it was already there and he already saw it. Was there, and he just had to take away what wasn't it to reveal the essence of it. Rather than I'm creating something. The reason why, I mean, if you think about it, it's pretty daunting. Okay, I see this block of marble, and now I've got to create this masterpiece from it. That's pretty daunting. But if I just have to chip away, it's already in there, and I just have to chip away what's not it, then that's very doable.
Yeah, it's
I'm
a vision.
an archaeologist.
Vision from the inside out, isn't it?
Yeah.
And
take away the blocks. That's, that was the whole methodology. Just take away the rough edges that are not it. And then what reveals is it. So in the same way, we like the blocks of marble. Without the chiseling, we remain, the masterpiece that's within us doesn't reveal itself. The chiseling is the letting go. That's the taking away of everything that's not us to reveal that finely tuned masterpiece that is within.
What I've been seeing lately is the veil of illusion. So I've been seeing it like it's different in different people. You know, it might be a wall, it might be a curtain, it might be a veil. But I can see that this illusion, it's very clear to me now that it's just removing that illusion that there's anything wrong or there's anything that's beyond pure formless awareness.
Yeah. Which is so simple. That's not that hard to do. So, okay, I'm already perfect. Everyone's already perfect. We don't have to create perfection. We just have to take away what blocks it. So then letting go becomes the way. See, so the thought system behind it, that's why he teaches us the metaphysics. You got to understand the metaphysics to then understand what the remedy is going to be. That letting go is going to work because actually you already are perfect and you've just covered over that perfection with all these blocks. And now you need to let go of the blocks to reveal the perfection that's already there. The same way as Michelangelo was chiseling away at the David, taking away all the rough edges to reveal this masterpiece that was already there. But he could already see it, you see. When he started, he must have had this vision of, it's already there. I know it's already there. And I'm going to go through this process of revealing it. And I'll be guided, you know, moment by moment. This is the Holy Spirit must have been guiding him to chisel away. How do you know where to chisel? Quite extraordinary to take on something. How do you know where to chisel and where to, that he would have been guided the whole way. And now we're referencing his experience and going, well, actually, this is, directly applicable to this art of letting go. So the formula for creating a masterpiece is higher vision. So you have to have a vision of what's in there already, an idea that it's in there, and then skillful action, which is letting go. So the Buddhists call, skillful action. It's the ability to let go of whatever arises moment by moment and to acknowledge it very quickly, recognize, okay, this is a letting go opportunity, then actually let it go. That's the skillful action. And the combination of that inner vision, yes, I know that this perfection is there, and the skillful action to reveal it, the letting go, reveals the masterpiece that is you, the true self, the Christ within you. So, I'm not talking about any masterpiece of art, literature, or any other form, although, as has been demonstrated, if you apply this into sculpting in this case, it worked. He did produce a masterpiece through this thought system. But the real masterpiece is you, the real you, the true self. Not the you that's an unsculpted block of marble that you and other people have judged as valueless. Because, okay, it's just a block of marble, it's been discarded, there's no value in it. The value comes when you take that unsculpted block and you chip away at it, and you chisel it, and you refine it to reveal the whole, complete, perfect sculpture that's within it. So it just needs chiseling.
And that's how we need to look at each other, isn't it? We see each person as clear, or whatever word you want to use for it. Perfect, clear, whole and complete. And rather than seeing the statue as the pre-made stone, you see them as the finished article, don't you? If you can see everybody as 100% clear light, you're home and dry, really, aren't you?
Yeah. And then it revealed itself. So Michelangelo must have seen it. He saw the block, and he saw the vision. He had the vision of what's inside there. And then he's like, okay, I see this, and I've got to reveal it. I've got to go through this process of chiseling away to reveal this masterpiece that's already there. And I'm just going to be guided moment by moment. The chiseling is really a good analogy, because it's like every time he taps the hammer and he chisels a little bit, it's another letting go, isn't it? It's another thing that's cut away. That's not the true self. So he must have had millions of little chisels, millions of little blows at that block to eventually reveal the David. And in the same way, every day, it's another letting go opportunity. Okay, it's another little chisel. I've cut away something that's not me, and so I'm revealing more and more the true self. And it's already there, as you say. It's already there in me, and it's already there in everyone else. The higher vision of everyone else is to see everyone as that complete whole person. They already are perfect. And now the skillful action to reveal that is required. So I can't do that for them, but what I can do for another is I can let go of my own negative misperceptions of them, can't I? That's what I can do. And then I'm maybe helping them to do the same for themselves, to reveal the masterpiece that's them. If I can see them as the masterpiece they are, then maybe I inspire them to see it for themselves and to go on this process of uncovering it through the skillful action of letting go.
It's so tempting to see someone as the way you've always seen them, that rather than seeing that they've got an aspect of themselves that is their self-concept or their way of being, to actually see them as the finished product.
Yeah, I mean,
that's just dropped in. I've just seen that on a slightly different level just now.
Yeah.
That it's already resolved, it's already perfect.
Yeah.
I think I was still seeing a little bit of the, you know,
Yeah.
the unfinished statue in my mind between the finished product. It's just taken the next step a little bit further in my mind.
Yeah. But you know, this is what he's asking us to do. He's saying, see everyone as the true self or the Christ, as this is the higher vision. You see them as they really are. And if any blocks come into that, the skillful action is, well, let go of the blocks as they arise. And then the masterpiece of the Christ that they are is revealed to you. And then you have to then acknowledge it in yourself. Well, if they're that, then maybe I'm also that. I must be that if I'm seeing it in them. And so as you see it in another, you see it in yourself. And then you allow the higher vision is the start. The skillful action follows. Skillful action, or the letting go, comes because you have a higher vision and you go, yes, that's the truth. And if anything blocks that truth, then that just needs to be let go of and cut away. That's the skillful action that I need to keep doing. And so it's very simple.
Something's definitely just dropped in then. That's interesting. I thought I was doing quite well. I thought I was seeing everyone as pure. I thought I was seeing everyone as additional love. But I realized I've still got little things I was holding that kind of like, oh, when we've resolved that, that'll be better. Or when that's changed, that'll be better. But no, not the truth, is it? I'm seeing it.
The truth is they are already, although the blocks seem to be there, so there might still be in time a work in progress. They've got to chisel away and reveal it. The truth is that masterpiece is always there. The David was always in there. Everything that made up the David was there. That's what Michelangelo could see, to start with. And then all I've got to do is cut away what's not it, what's not the authentic David. I've just got to remove that to reveal what's already there.
Yeah, and the fault's not in them, is it? It's in my view of them.
Yeah. So my skillful action when relating to others is, okay, can I let go of my blocks that I'm putting? Because we have a sculpture in our mind of everyone. It's a self-image. Our self-image projects onto them, and we then create a concept for them, an image for them in our mind. That's our statue of them. If you're seeing the block of marble, then you're perceiving it incorrectly because you're seeing what's not really true. The truth is that they are that masterpiece already. They are the Christ. They already exist in there, and you just look beyond all of the blocks to see, yes, they are already that. And in time, they may not have realized that yet, but the truth is they still are that, because that's their eternal nature. And then I acknowledge it in myself. Every time I see it in another, I am letting go of some of my own blocks to reveal that true self in me. And this is why relationships are so key. He's saying, as you see another, so you will see yourself. Now, if you see another as the block of marble rather than the Christ, then that's how you see yourself. And you'll limit yourself into the block of marble. You'll think that's what I am, with all of my faults and flaws. But if you see them as the Christ, then you must see yourself as the Christ. And then the skillful action would just be, okay, let me, if I'm aware of something that's not that, I need to just cut that away. I need to let it go. So that's the answer, let go. let go of whatever the block is, and you reveal the truth. So there's the pod. I don't know if you listened to that, but it's a good, really good podcast where he speaks for about 80 minutes, just non-stop. He just and really just like it's this philosophy of letting go. He's absolutely just teaching the art of letting go. That's all. But very eloquently. So it's a good one to watch. So if you look at all this, you stack it all up, the scientific research proves what Yeshua and every authentic spiritual teaching and teacher has said throughout history is true. That the art, and this is the key insight, that consistently feeling genuine love is the key to leading an authentically happy life. It shouldn't actually be like a massive, oh wow, like that's amazing. Of course, surely it's common sense. But for most people, they are seeking something else. If you look at the way most people live their lives, they're seeking special love, but it's not genuine love. They're seeking someone who's going to meet their expectations, who's going to complete me, who's going to fulfill me, who's going to make me happy. That's not genuine love. That's attachment. That's special love. Or they're looking for, well, when I get, the fantastic job, then I'll be happy. When I do this, when I have kids, when I have a family, whatever it is, something else than genuine love is going to make me happy. And that's the ego's program. Seek and seek and seek for something outside of you rather than genuine love, and try and find satisfaction there, try and find happiness there. And of course, it doesn't work. It's never worked. It never will work. And so our job is to just see that. It's never going to work. It never has worked, never will work. So let me give it up. Let me let that idea go, that I'll ever find it outside of me. And I must find it within me. And then genuine love, unconditional love, sees that what I am, the other person is too. It sees them as the true self, exactly what I am, the same. So they are one with me. They're not separate. And when I see that, when I perceive that, then that's unconditional love. As opposed to the, especially attached love where it's like, well, I want something from you. I need something from you. You need to complete me. You need to meet my needs, my expectations, my desires. That's a disaster. It never works to bring happiness. In fact, it'll just sabotage your happiness over and over. Okay, so that brings us to our lesson. Any questions, comments, thoughts on any of that?
Only that I just experienced a miracle. You just
another one.
Quite major. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, very
so,
good.
We just to comment on that, we look at the stuff over and over and over again. Some of the stuff you've seen before, it's repeated. But the point of the repetition is like in this particular teaching, something might just drop in for you that didn't drop in before. And that's how it works. And that's why you show up, because like, well, you never know. I think I know this 100%, but like something else can drop in to just open my mind a bit further to the truth, so that I really, get this on another level.
Yeah, it's funny, isn't it? The times that happens where I think, I know that. I definitely know everyone's my reflection. I know it's my stuff. I know it's just I've got to clear this stuff. But then just now, obviously I didn't know it deep enough because it's just gone down another layer.
Levels and levels of the knowing, yeah. Because intellect, conceptually, we can go, yeah, of course, I see my brothers, myself, they're my mirror. Yeah, okay, it's a start, that conceptual understanding. But to really know it, it's a feeling more. It's like, yeah, I really just experientially know that. There's a deeper feeling of that can't really be explained, but it's something drops in deeper, and that's the miracle. You have that kind of insight, and that deepens your understanding, because it's now dropped in at a different level. You can
beyond words, isn't it? It's beyond explaining. Just an experience. Is there?
Experience, exactly.
In my solar plexus, it's like something's opened up and go, okay, let that one go. Yeah.
And when you have these experiences, you can't really explain it, but something drops in deeper. And all the teaching suddenly makes sense, but on an experiential level. It's like, it's not conceptual anymore, you know, speaking the language. It's like, oh, but I really get it. I really like feel that, get it on the a deeper level. Like you can't explain. It's like the deepest part of your mind starting to awaken to that truth. And that's why we do the work, to deepen, you know, and that's why this course, you can do it for years and years. And then just you still get these revelations, because it's like a deeper understanding of the truth starts coming in.
And then the other lessons come to mind about, you know, acknowledge your problems, and then acknowledge they're already resolved. And
Yeah.
it's like, oh yeah. I'm sure when I read that a few weeks ago, it was fine, but no.
Yeah. Yeah.
Already resolved.
Yeah. It's already resolved because
It's
I'm
like the
already
ego
the Christ.
the
I'm
ego loves a
already
problem, doesn't it?
oh, the ego
The
doesn't
ego
want to
loves
see.
something to play with.
Yeah. This higher vision, you know, higher vision and skillful action. The ego is just dead set against this formula. It's going to try and sabotage that vision. Say, no. Focus on the block. Focus on, you know, what is. It has no vision. It just focuses on what seems to be on the level of form. It says, well, that's what it is, so that's what it is. And there's no, you know, nothing. It can't see deeper. There's no higher or deeper vision. And so skillful action is not required. It's like, well, if this is all the person is, and I'm just seeing them as the block, then why even bother to chisel away? There's nothing to chisel. That's what they are. That's the reality. You know? So the masterpiece within can never be revealed, because it can't even see that there's a masterpiece to start with. Never mind going through a whole process of skillfully and with a lot of dedication. You think of the dedication of someone like Michelangelo. My goodness, to chip away and chip away. It took him years to do this. And then he did the Sistine Chapel as well, which I think took him like 10 years of painting on his back. Just quite extraordinary dedication to do this. To like, okay, I'm just going to. This is my dedication. This is my practice. Dedicated to revealing this higher vision, moment by moment by moment, through my skillful action of in my daily life. And that's then, you know, if you can master this formula, you have you've mastered the art of letting go. If you're actually living this and skillfully revealing more and more of the Christ that you are, and being the light of the world, and encouraging other people to do that. You know, you're the example of someone who's doing this, and so they can learn from you and do the same. And so that's what, you know, this podcast is all about, letting go. Really, it's just saying the one thing you got to do is to let go. There's nothing else required. That's the whole spiritual journey. That's the whole deal. You got to let go of whatever block arises in your mind, uncomfortable thoughts, emotions. That's all you have to do, and then that reveals the truth of who you are, and that reveals the genuine love. You see, so people say, well, how do I have genuine love? Well, you let go. That's the way to experience genuine love. You see, it's all connected. When I can let go, I can find my true self. I see the true self in the other person. That's a genuine unconditional love, and that will inevitably lead to happiness. When I'm in that state of mind, love is happiness, as the teaching says. So yeah. Okay. So any comments, thoughts, questions on that?
No, that's brilliant. Thank you.
Hmm.
You just saved me a lot of money. I was going to try and solve it on the level of form.
All right. What, some issue?
Yeah. Yeah. Oh.
Okay. So let's so we look at the lesson today. Okay. Mark, can I ask you a favor? The podiatrist just phoned me. Can you find them and tell them, can I reschedule my appointment?
Oh, well, you're not be back on Monday.
I'm leaving, yeah.
Yeah.
So for the following week. I'm going tomorrow. All right. So yeah, let's make it for Monday the following week. Where are we? We want our lesson 103. Okay, so there we are. There's the lesson. If you want to read the lesson, and then first paragraph. There's only 3 paragraphs to this one. It's quite short.
God being love is also happiness. God being perfect love is also happiness.
So perfect love, I just put in the perfect. And happiness, both capitalized, because happiness and love are the same. It's the same thing. Same state. Love is happiness, as the research shows. Just different words for the same feeling. Okay, so number 1.
Happiness is an attribute of love. It cannot be apart from it, nor can it be experienced where love is not, nor can it be experienced where love is not present. Love has no limits, being everywhere. And therefore joy is everywhere as well.
Yeah, so not the 29th. Yeah.
Yet can the mind deny that this is so, believing there are gaps in love where sin can enter, bringing pain instead of joy? Yet my mind can deny that this is so, believing there are gaps in love where sin can enter, bringing pain instead of joy. This strange belief would limit happiness by redefining love as limited and introducing opposition in what has no limit and no opposite. This strange belief limits happiness by redefining love as limited and introducing opposition in what has no limit, no opposite.
Okay. So any thoughts on that?
I can feel it. It's
Good.
a torso, a feeling in my torso of yeah, interesting feeling. I suppose it's unlimited, it's the feeling, but it's only in my torso. It's not like unlimited all around, but that's still a sign. Yeah, there's no mind. There's no thinking to it at the moment. It just a sensation of yeah, I don't know, I can't give it a word. Not letting go, unlimited maybe. No limits, probably not. Yeah,
Limitless.
probably no limits. Yeah, I usually use the word unlimited, but no limits is a good thing to say. Yeah.
Or limitless.
Interesting, isn't it? How different paragraphs bring up different sensations. And it's nice not to have to think about it, but it is just a joyful feeling.
Yeah, in the end, I mean, that's what these words are for. And it's a very wordy path for some miracles. There's loads, thousands and thousands, hundreds of thousands of words. I don't know how many words in the course, but it's a lot of words. So they're pointing us to an experience. That's what they're pointing to. So if you can start having the experience, dropping into the experience, the words are doing their thing, aren't they? That's what they're for. To give you the experience. It's going beyond intellectual understanding to an experience that they facilitate. And that's why you can never really get tired of reading, because the words just point you to the experience, and that experience is ever fresh and can deepen over time. People try and just get the course on an intellectual level, and that's the start. But Helen Schuckman's a good example of someone who did that, and she never really got it. She was intellectual in her mind, and she didn't experience, fully the what he's pointing to. because her mind was too blocked. There's too much resistance to that experience.
It was quite nice that she was, because it shows there's no limits to anybody doing the course. If she was that blocked and she still managed to bring all that information forward, that's
Well,
quite.
she was a scribe, but she didn't really practice it. It was interesting. You know, she wasn't really a student of it, although she'd scribed it. So it was like
That's
it was
it's
her
still
baby.
impressive.
Yeah,
It's still
I mean,
impressive that she managed to do that. I mean, that's like a
I
stepping
think it.
stone in the process, isn't
Yeah,
it?
I think it challenged her hugely. She said it's the most difficult thing I've ever done. And I felt like I had to do it. It was my life's work, but I didn't believe in it. So I'm in the ridiculous position of not believing in my own life's work. A massive conflict. There's no accident she died of cancer.
But to me, that's an indication that it was a very clear channel, because she was believing in it. A belief's not true, is it? A belief is still in duality. So to be absolutely just bringing it forth and going, oh, I haven't got a clue what this is about, I can't grab it. That's a really good sign, isn't it? Good.
Yeah, well, it wasn't her, you know. It was a dictation. She was just taking it down. She was the scribe, taking down what, you know, Yeshua was bringing through her mind. And most of the time she didn't accept it. She didn't believe it. She was like, what is this stuff that's coming through me? But, you know, I feel all that I have to write it down as it's come. You know, there's a integrity to that process, even though I personally I don't believe all of it.
Working from her mind, wasn't she? She was blocked at the throat. She didn't get down to the heart. So that's fair enough.
Yeah, I think too much.
Next lifetime, she might come in all ready to go.
Well, apparently she has. Gary Renard said, "Oh, we've made contact with, you know, Helen's reincarnation, and she's a young girl in her 20s, and whether that's true or not, I don't know. It could be a nice marketing ploy for Gary, but you know, she was evidently you know, she wasn't there. She wasn't enlightened. So it makes sense she would
How
come
does
back.
that work? The reincarnation type thing? Because I had a drop down into my consciousness yesterday that I'd had this experience as a child where I used to talk to this non-physical being over the garden fence, and I just kind of just thought of it as an illusion, you know, part of your dream world from your mind. But then I met somebody yesterday, and it was very clearly, oh, they're the person that I used to talk to over the fence.
Really?
They're now incarnated in a physical body. Well, he's my partner. So I was like, oh, isn't that interesting? Oh, he was the little boy I used to talk to over the fence. How does that work? What an illusion is that?
Well, so if he was non-physical, he hadn't incarnated yet. I mean, is he younger than you?
Yeah.
Okay, so that kind of stacks up on the timeline. So there's always some kind of soul connection. The idea that we're limited to physical channels to communicate is ridiculous. I mean, it's all mind. So you are open enough and able to tap in to another frequency, so just a frequency of energy, where you could communicate with him as a non-physical being. And, you know, people do that all the time. Clairvoyants and psychics, they can access that world and they can communicate. So you were just tapping in, and then, you know, I suppose at a point you got told that you shouldn't do that, and then you shut it down. You went, oh, I shouldn't do that because something's weird. And so your conscious mind came in and blocked the channel. But, you know, so probably if that feels right, then that's probably what happened. So nothing that extraordinary about it.
It's strange. When you think it's all an illusion and all in your mind.
Yeah, well, so, but isn't that, so there's nothing physical there, but you're perceiving some other entity, but I mean, that's clearly just, it's in the mind then. There's nothing physical there. So, you know, how do we know that what we perceive as physical bodies here are even there? How do we know that? How do we know we're not just dreaming? These are not just, you know, it's like they just ghosts. We're ghosts in the machine. The ghost seems to be real. It seems to have flesh, can see it, feel it, touch it, taste it, but that's just part of the dream. The illusion that's, you know, the mind is spun to convince us that these things we call bodies are actually real. And you know, this is what these teachings are saying. Well, how do you know? How do you know the body is real? Only your perception tells you it's real. You can see it, feel it, touch it, taste it. Okay, does that make it real, or is it just a hallucination? All of those sense perceptions are illusory. The whole thing's an illusion spun by your mind to convince you that you are a separate self. That's all that's going on. And that is the ultimate truth. So none of it's real. The only thing that is reality is the truth of your being, the mind, that has a source, that is existent, always existent, eternally, that eternal awareness. And everything else is illusion. It's been spun over, covered over that awareness, the body, the world, all part of this illusory construct of thought to cover over this true awareness that we really are. And talk about experience. That all dropped in on day 9 of my Vipassana retreat 2 years ago. Almost 2 years to the day, actually. No. It dropped in to my awareness, and it was just like, oh my God, I get it. I've been studying this course for years, but suddenly, experientially, I just understood. It's like, I get it. The whole thing is a veil of illusion created by the mind to justify all of these crap thoughts, excuse my French, but that's what I thought, these crap thoughts and emotions that characterize my life. And it's all a setup. It's all just, it's just, I get it. That's why it's called a veil of illusion. It was like the entire course just experientially dropped into me, and I kind of got it in that moment. And that's experience. You can't, you study and you study, and that was all necessary to lead me to that point of like, okay, I just download and I get it. Having had an experience of pure formless awareness where there was no thought for a while, and then all of that insight, just dropped in afterwards to go, okay, boom, all there. Now you actually understand on a much deeper level what this course is about. And then it's so simple. It's like, oh, of course I get it. That's such a simple idea, isn't it? Yes, we've made it all up. The whole thing's an illusion designed to just cover over my true awareness that's always been there. That's this pristine, pure formless awareness. That's where the name came. So it's just like, oh, but that's so, what can I say? How could I describe that? Pure formless awareness. That was the best way I could describe the experience. And so we practice and we learn and we do all this work so that the moment comes and it drops in a what we'd call a mystic experience, and you just get it. But you had to do all of the preparation to prepare you for that moment. As you'll be familiar with, none of these experiences you're having, they wouldn't have happened if you hadn't been willing to do all of the work to facilitate them. Very unlikely.
I think I'm having all these experiences because I always have said, I think the whole last 30 years, that I want to experience it firsthand. I don't want to read about it in a book. I don't want someone to tell me how it is for them. I want personal firsthand experience. I don't mind after the experience somebody explaining it to me from their perspective, or that's always been known, and explaining what happened. But I want to have an unfettered, unattached experience personally. And I think having said that for 30 years, it's allowing it to happen. It's an embedded choice.
You chose, you asked, and so the way will be found.
And maybe other people don't want that. Maybe other people don't ask for the experience. Maybe they're quite happy to read a book and learn it that way. So I just think it's maybe something to do with that.
Yeah. So you get what you ask for. So be careful what you ask for.
That's like it's like when you say "bring it on," I go, "Oh no, that's too much. Let's be gentle about this."
But it takes you, every experience, bring it on. Okay, well, that's an opportunity to let go and experience more directly the truth. That's what it represents. Every block, beyond the block lies a deeper, experience of this great truth that is so amazingly, blissful, joyful. You can't put words to it. It's like, wow, like, that's what everyone wants, just that feeling. That's what everyone wants. That's why, drugs in this world are at such a premium. Why are they the most profitable thing in the world? Because people want the experience, and the drugs will take them there temporarily, give them an altered state, and so that's why they've got this value attached to them.
Well, you say people want the experience, but quite often people don't want the experience. I don't know about people taking the drugs, but quite often people are giving lip service to it. Oh, yes, I want to experience pure formless awareness or whatever it might be, or joy or something. But they don't actually. Because if you did, you would have it.
Well, what they don't want to do is they don't want to go through the pain of getting there. They don't want to go through what's required to get there. So yes, I might want, this is why people do drugs. Yeah, pop a pill, shoot up on heroin, whatever. I have a blissful awareness for a while without having to do the work. It's all done for me through the drug. But then, of course, the downside is I can't sustain it. The high is followed by correspondingly deep low, and then I'm addicted, because it's just the state, craving the state without doing the spiritual work. Actually, the truth is, the state will come when you do the work. And to uncover yourself. It's really about, I want to know myself. I want to know who I really am. And if I know who I really am, then joy and peace and bliss will come as a side effect of that.
And that's what the highs and lows is, isn't it? That somebody will get a high, but then they haven't done the shadow work, so they go down into the low to do the shadow work, because low comes after the high, doesn't it? So it's like the light kind of brings it up to the surface, and then they need to do the work, but then they're in the deep doo-doo and don't want to do the work, and they want the superficial high. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, thank you for that.
So they want the high, but not, they don't want to do the work of working through the blocks to the awareness of love's presence, because that feels like hard work and it's scary. It's like, oh my God, I don't want to go there, because if I go into my past, my trauma, then I've got to deal with this stuff. And so most people shove it down, and they push it down. They go, well, just push it down, repress it, keep it under wraps, because that's pain. Pain lies there. There be dragons. So I don't want to go there. So yes, I want pleasure. Wow, yeah, bliss, great. Bring me the bliss. But I don't want to go and undo these blocks to allow that bliss to flow through naturally. So then we seek, artificial highs, and that's when addiction comes in. So I seek it in a drug, I seek it in a person, in an experience, in food, in sex, in shopping, in whatever, because it gives me some kind of an altered state, some kind of a buzz, which feels a bit different from my normal mundane flat emptiness. But then I need something more. So I get sucked in to seeking outside of me for these temporary highs, sources of temporary highs. And I've actually blocked, I've just shoved all of my blocks, my emotional and my thought blocks down, and I'm not willing to go there. And the ego says, oh, that's painful. No, just look for the pleasure. That salvation lies outside of you. Look for the next hit of some altered state experience that you crave. Look for it outside of you. And that's how addiction works.
Yeah, and it comes in all different forms, doesn't it? Addiction, it might be food addiction or alcohol or drugs, but it can be addiction just for minor things, can't it? Just watching television or playing on Facebook or something minor.
Yeah, I mean, the truth is we're all addicted in some way in this life. We all have these patterns until you free yourself and you become a liberated person, an enlightened person. You have these addictive programs, whether it's food, watching TV. Well, that's not an addiction. Well, you sit and you watch hours of TV a day and you kind of zone out in front of it. What's that? It's a repetitive pattern, and you don't even question it. You just switch on the TV and you zone out for a few hours. It's an addictive pattern because it gives you an altered state in that in that 3 hours, you can just kind of, oh, well, I can just forget all my problems and I can glue myself, let my consciousness be sucked in to whatever the images on the screen are showing me, and forget, my own life, my own problems. So it's a coping mechanism. It helps us to let go without letting go. You see, you haven't really let go. You've just temporarily got distracted. Your consciousness has got totally entrained by say TV is a good example. But then you haven't really resolved it. You haven't dealt with it. It's still there. You've just distracted yourself, and you're still very much at the perceptual level. So yeah, you're right. I think there's very few people who say, yes, I want the whole deal. I want to experience ultimate peace and joy and bliss, and I'm willing to do the work. I understand that to get there, I'm probably going to have to go through some quite difficult, challenging, painful experiences to get there, because there's no other way. I've got to go through the darkness to get to the light. So I've got to go into these darker places in my mind, the emotional layer that I've covered over, and I've got to really look at my thought system, really look at my beliefs and examine those. And it's not comfortable. So who do I believe I am? Well, actually, I have to see that I feel like I'm a victim and I'm unworthy. That's not a comfortable, nice experience to have, is it? We've done the art of letting go course, the naming your game exercise and stuff. You wouldn't say that's a comfortable experience.
No.
But if you're willing to go through it, then willing to go through the discomfort, what can unfold on the other side is greater levels of peace and joy and bliss, as you've personally experienced.
Yeah.
And now it's coming from the inside out. So if we're coming from a deep place within you, the very core that you're activating, and then that presence within you shines through. And it comes through as this, powerful energy that just shines away the beliefs, the thoughts, the emotions, the perceptions of the ego. And now at the top level, your perception has changed. You go, wow, like I can just see more clearly. I no longer have all those blocks and all those negative thoughts and feelings that used to be there. They've been shone away, and I can see clearly now. And this is what he's talking about, which is clear perception and vision, and to see the world clearly as the real world, coming from your true self, and no blocks in between, just a clear channel. That's why we do the work. And it is, it's a lot of work. Let's make no mistake, to dedicate your life to this. Well, this is your work. This is your practice. You do it daily, you do it hourly, moment by moment. And so a lot of people are not ready for that kind of discipline. They're like, no, that's too full on for me. I've had someone said, no, the course is too full on for me. Right, okay. So you're going to be half on then. You're going to live a half on life. I'm kind of sort of there. I'm dabbling. It's dabblers. They dabble in the course. And they're like, yeah, that's kind of interesting. And some of the ideas are nice. And I might go to my course group. And, it's kind of social as well. And I feel like I'm doing something. But actually, am I really diving into this, saying, okay, let's do this? Yes, sure. I'm open to the whole deal. I want enlightenment, the whole thing in this lifetime. I'm not going to hold back. Not that many people who have that level of commitment, which I guess is why there's only 2 of us on the call. That's how it goes, isn't it? If you're really committed, you're like, well, I'll show up, because this is where it happens. Transformation happens in these situations. And I understand people are busy and they've got other things going on, but at the same time, it's like, but what's your priority? What really counts? What really matters? If there's only one thing that really matters, it's just telling us salvation, enlightenment, atonement, whatever you want to call it. That's the only thing that you're here for. That's your only function. That's your only purpose. If that really is the truth, then you should dedicate a lot of your time to that. And most, every day, every minute, every hour, that's my function here. That's what I'm doing. And the roles that I play and the temporary functions in the world, those are now part of the journey. You don't deny those and say, I'm not going to do that. But primarily my function in every situation is to awaken and to help others awaken.
Oh no, I just need 3 minutes and I'll be back.
Oh, okay.
Sorry,
Yeah.
just got to do something.
All right, no problem. We'll take a quick break. I'll right. Sally, you back?
Okay. And
Yeah,
you?
I'm back. Sorry about that.
No, it's okay. Give me a little break. Got some tea. All right, so let's carry on, shall we? So where were we? Let's just start resume recording.
We were talking about life getting in the way.
All right.
And then
So,
life got in the way.
What?
We were talking about life getting in the way, and then life got in the way there for a minute.
Yeah, but it's all part of your journey. See, so what I like about this teaching is not saying take yourself into a cave and meditate and deny the life that you're living. He's saying live it, but live it with this letting go in mind. So you're going to let go of whatever stuff comes up. Your blocks are going to come up triggered by life, and your job is to let them go. And that's your way out. So you don't, in fact, engage in life, because the more you engage and you have experiences, that brings the stuff up, and then you've got the chance to let it go. Kind of makes sense. Whereas if you divorce yourself from, say, well, the only way to enlightenment is to go into a cave and meditate 24/7 and avoid all these life experiences, then you don't get the triggers which bring up the blocks. They're saying that's quite a tedious way of doing it. The quickest way is engage in life from this perspective of forgiveness or letting go, and use everything to help you clear the blocks. Makes complete sense, and it's very practical. You can live, you don't have to take yourself off and remove yourself from society and disconnect from your relationships. You can do it all, but you do it all with now this higher awareness coming in. That it's all about letting go of your stuff. Okay, so I'm going to read number 2.
Fear is associated then with love, and its results become the heritage of minds that think what they have made is real. These images with no reality and truth bear witness to the fear of God, forgetting being love, he must be joy. Basic area we try again to bring to truth today and teach ourselves. God being love is also happiness. To fear him is to be afraid of joy. Cool. Begin your practices today. Do you want me to read that?
Yeah, we might as well finish it and then read the alternative.
Begin your periods of practicing today with this association, which corrects the false belief that God is fear. It also emphasizes happiness belongs to you because of what he is.
Okay, and this actually benefits from it. This bit I've never been comfortable with, where it says, forgetting being love, he must be joy. It's always been a bit of a non sequitur. I'm like, okay, doesn't that need another sentence or something? So I've just translated that.
Okay. Fear is associated then with love, and its results become the heritage of minds that think what they have made is real. These images with no reality and truth bear witness to the fear of perfect love, which must be joy as well. It will try again to let go of this basic error and teach myself. I will try again to let go of this basic error and teach myself. God being perfect love is also happiness. To fear this is to be afraid of joy. I'll begin my periods of practicing today with this association, which corrects the false belief that pure formless awareness of perfect love is fear. It also emphasizes happiness belongs to me because of what it is.
Oh, so any thoughts on that?
Basically, yeah. Well, it's a fear of love, fear of happiness, fear of joy, isn't it? Yeah, and I think that's missed a lot by people. People are coming at it from the wrong angle. Like quite often you just go from that end rather than struggle with the problems of the world, thinking once I got rid of all my problems, I'll be happy. It's like, so why am I, let go of my resistance to being happy? Yeah, I know what I mean. Yeah.
Yeah, it's the illusion of the ego is something outside of you is going to make you happy. So we have an expectation. Well, this needs to happen. This needs to change in order to make me happy, and that doesn't work. Even if I get what I want, I notice that I'm probably not happy for very long. It doesn't last for very long, and then I'm unhappy again. And I have another want and another desire, And this is what the Buddha noticed 2,500 years ago. You know, this became the noble truths of Buddhism. Like, well, everyone's craving, desiring all the time. They're not very happy because of it. So the way out of suffering then is let go of your desire. Well, pretty obvious. I mean, this is like common sense, really. Should be common sense. Well, if your desires are making you unhappy, then drop your desires. Don't expect anything. And then you can find this foundational happiness, I call it, you know, the base state of happy peace, just being okay. I'm okay. I'm all right. You know, I don't have any desires. I don't have any fears. I'm okay, you know, as I am. I'm actually going to send this out to the group. So where is it? No, it's in Coil Family. Where are we? Was there? Yeah, there we go. Tina Turner.
Oh yeah,
You read that?
I read it. Yeah, yeah. You didn't share it today because I read that today. Oh, I suppose it's
I
going.
haven't shared it, no, but
I've read
please,
it today.
have you got it? Then share it to the group.
Yeah, I've got a whole longer one than that.
Yeah, will you share it? I think it's amazing. So do you want to read that? She said,
In 2020, Turner said that despite having serious health problems, the last 10 years of her life had embodied her ideal vision of happiness. I found happiness because I desire nothing. It's a happiness I never knew existed. In the past, happiness was, oh, I bought a dress or I've got this car. It was all material things. Now I get up in the morning and meditate. Inside a feeling of wellness where you're sitting there just where you want to be. There's nothing you want. People think when you're on stage that they are doing that, they are your glory days, the lights, the clothes, etc. They were not my glory days. These now are my glory days. True and lasting happiness comes from an unshakable spirit that can shine no matter what. An inspirational woman.
yeah, these are my glory days. So there's someone who's been through, you know, all the illusions, the celebrity, the fame, the money, and she's gone, actually, on the other side of that, what really made me happy was just sitting and being who I really am. And all the, you know, the lights, the clothes, all of that went with being a pop star. She realized it was all meaningless. So what a journey to have had. And you know, we can learn from people like this. Okay, so she's had it, she's done it all. She's done the egos thing, and she's going, it didn't really bring me the happiness that I found when I let go of all that. And I just get up every day and I just sit in my meditation and I find this deep peace. So yeah, great little teaching there from Tina Turner. And you see the spirit is everywhere, coming through, shining through the dream. So yeah, if you can post your longer one on the group, that'd be amazing.
Yeah, I don't know where it is actually. You might be best to post that one because I did just have a quick look and I'm not sure where it's gone.
Okay.
It told the story where it was like the hero's journey where she left the known world and left whatever he was, agent, husband at the time, and how she went into the known world just with her name and nothing else. So it was an interesting, you know, the way it was written, but I don't know where it is now.
I don't know where it is. Okay. Okay, so any thoughts on number 2? What's he saying? We'll summarize that briefly.
We tend to associate fear with love, and that's not the truth. If we let go of the fear, we know that we can feel love and happiness and joy.
We're actually afraid of joy. That's bizarre. It's like,
It's strange, isn't it? But I often find that with clients when I do my work, because I use
yeah,
the sway or a muscle test to see, and invariably most people are very
afraid
afraid
of it. Yeah.
of love and happiness. Yeah.
So they say they want it, and this is the paradox of the ego. I say I want it. Oh, no, I just want to be happy. But do you really want to be happy? Or do you actually you're addicted to your drama? You're addicted to the pain that the separate self brings. See,
The fear of the
we say
unknown
we want
often,
happiness, but we can't actually bear happiness for very long. So most people, if the separate self's still there, it can't handle much happiness because it's going to undo it. So it's got to then create some drama very quickly. Happiness comes in. Oh, we've got to create drama. And they go, why? Like I had that one moment and then more drama. It's like, well, because that is what your ego wants. And as long as you identify with it, that's what you want. So, it's no wonder that most people in this world are not happy because they're terrified of it. They're scared of it. They don't want to be happy. They want to be a separate self who's got their problems and all of their issues and their unhappiness, because that defines them. Who would I be without my unhappiness? That's the question. Well, you'd be completely happy and joyful, wouldn't you? But you wouldn't be you. You wouldn't be the character you've identified with. You'd just be this pure formless awareness floating in this joyful state forever.
yeah, I think it's worth looking at a life and seeing what it is you want that you believe you can't have. And that can be on any level, in any shape or form, and then do the work to be able to allow that, to reveal that, to uncover that. I think that's a really good practice rather than, trying to do it the other way around sort of thing.
Yeah. So rather than I need that, I want that, so I'm going to go try and get it. Like, no, let me remove the blocks
Yeah.
that are stopping this, that are blocking this. Remove the blocks to the awareness of love's presence, and then everything reveals. And the form doesn't matter so much. So you see, you're not associated with forms. It doesn't really matter, because if I have the joy, the happiness, then that's really all that matters. As Tina Turner saying, the glory days were not I'm up on stage and the lights and the clothes and all that. It's the joy that I feel when I just sit and I have this feeling of wellness. That's a synonym for joy. That's welling up inside me, and that feels beautiful. And why would I want anything else?
Yeah, but it's the fear. Yeah, how do I put that? It's like the fear. You have to face the fear to be able to let it go somehow, don't you? The fear that's stopping you doing it.
Yeah, exactly.
I've just a thought's just come up in my mind. A thought that I didn't even know I had. Didn't even know I wanted, actually. But now I've looked at it and say, oh yeah, all right, I'm going in the opposite direction of it. It's like I felt I wanted this thing, but actually I was running away from it. With my fear of it. So now I can face it. Now I can see that it was the fear of it. Funny, isn't it, how we fear what we want?
Yeah. This is why he says that the ego is insane. How can you desire something and fear it at the same time? It's very contradictory. And how can you really be afraid of joy? Joy is what you want, surely. And in the ego's twisted world, it's not what it wants. It wants the pain. Anything but joy, because joy is going to undo it. There's no identity for the ego then. So, he's just pointing these things out for us really clearly. So we know, we identify, yes, okay, yeah. Maybe I still am resistant to total joy. All my dramas, my pain, I think it's the outside world, but actually it's me creating these dramas so that I don't have to feel the joy that will completely undo my ego and my human self. Because the human self, joy feels like death. So if you associate joy, happiness, and peace and love with death, then of course you're going to avoid it. It's bizarre, but that's the truth of how the ego works. So it's no wonder we're not very happy in this world, because we're all scared of it, terrified of it, and running in the opposite direction, and then creating lives and a whole world that is designed not to bring us joy, but designed to make us unhappy, because that's what we want. And that's why, the world is the way it is. It's actually designed to make us unhappy, not happy. Totally insane. Like, why would you do that? But this is what he's telling us. It's insane. Don't try and make sense of it. Just recognize the insanity of it and be willing to let it go.
Quite amazing, really, isn't it?
Yeah. To have this clarity and insight into your life and the lives of human beings and how the world works is amazing. Suddenly you start understanding why things are the way they are.
Yeah.
And why the conventional wisdom never works. Why is everyone still unhappy? We've got all the information. It's all the information about happiness, got all these tools, so much free stuff. So why are people still unhappy? Because they're scared of happiness. That's why. Because there's an identification with the self that is terrified of happiness. And until they're willing to let go of that, they will continue to be unhappy. That's the simple truth. If you choose it, Yeshua says, I can't help you. If you keep choosing the ego, I can't help you. You must be willing to make another choice. And I will guide you in this teaching to make that choice. Happiness, and this, so simple. Happiness is mine. God being perfect love is also happiness. So this is my identity. You're claiming it. You're saying, I have perfect love. I am happy. And so simple. Like, why do we even need to be told this? But we need to be told it over and over because we've denied it. And we've believed that we're unhappy. So these lessons are really common sense in many ways. Common sense is anything but common in this world, if you noticed. It shouldn't really be called common sense. It should be called extraordinary sense. It's like, well, wisdom. It's like, it's not common at all. The common is to just go with the ego and believe that the insane thought system of the ego is true. That's much more common. Okay, number 3.
Allow this one correction to be placed within your mind each waking hour today. I just read it all?
Yeah, that's going to be the same.
Yeah. Then welcome all the happiness it brings as truth replaces fear and joy becomes what you expect to take the place of pain. God being love will be given you. Bolster this expectation frequently throughout the day and quiet all your fears with this assurance, kind and wholly true. God being love is also happiness, and it is happiness I seek today. I cannot fail because I seek the truth. That's interesting. I seek the truth. That's a good phrase. Because seeking you don't find.
Well, I translate.
Knowing that, I know. Yeah, right. Okay.
Read the translation.
It was just something I wrote down to work with. I allow this one correction to arise in my awareness each waking hour today. Then I welcome all the happiness it brings as truth replaces fear and joy becomes what I expect to take the place of pain. Because God is pure formless awareness of perfect love, happiness and joy will be given to me. I bolster this expectation frequently throughout the day and quiet all my fears with this assurance, kind and wholly true. God, being perfect love, is also happiness. And it is happiness I choose today. I cannot fail because perfect love and happiness are the truth.
Yeah. Instead of I seek the truth, I cannot fail because it is the truth. So how can I fail if those are the truth? And I choose, instead of I seek, I've put in here, and I choose perfect love and happiness today because they are the truth.
Yeah, every time I see the word now, seek, something triggers in me slightly like, oh no.
Well, it's the seek and do not find program,
yeah,
isn't it?
Yeah, I'm quite alert.
But he's saying, okay, if you're in the seeking, let's seek something else. Look for something else. Be open to that other thing. So it's a phase in the correction process. Okay, so I'm seeking something else. Therefore, I'm open to something else. I'm inviting something else in. You see, to reveal to me. So, because I might not be, it's just where you are on the spectrum. If you're a doer, let's say you say I'm things are happening by me, I'm doing it, then to seek another way and say I seek the truth opens you up to, well, maybe it could happen through me instead. It opens me up to the next phase of awakening. But I need to invite it in. It's happening through me, or I am it. It's happening as me. The idea of seeking is superfluous. It's not necessary. But it's a stage, he's trying to meet us at the stage.
No,
we're
I
at.
know it's a stage, yeah.
So, but the translation, you can change it and say, okay, well, that works better for you. Some people might resonate more with seeking the truth. Okay, yeah, all right. So because I'm seeking, all right, I'll seek the truth instead. But if you've gone beyond that stage of seeking and you found, then it's going to be much better to say, well, these are the truth. Cannot fail because perfect love and happiness are the truth. And at some point, you don't even need the exercises anymore, do you? The exercise becomes superfluous because I am that I am. Like I sit in the presence of love. I know that that's what I am. I don't need an exercise anymore to experience it. I just am that.
Yeah.
That's the enlightened state. But this course was written not for enlightened people. It was written for unenlightened people to help them to get rid of the ego and become enlightened. So it's a process,
Yeah, I spend a lot more time just being in the pure formless awareness and just, I don't know, being out in nature or just being, just sitting and
There's nothing to do. You realize there's nothing really to do. I just sit and I swim. Michael Singer said at a nice, no, it wasn't him, it was Michael Beckwith actually. Was like, I'm just swimming in the ocean. Why would I do anything if I'm in, this perfect love? Well, because it just feels good to swim around in the ocean of perfect love and just be in it with other people, because that's an enjoyable experience, or on your own, doesn't really matter. I'm just, the enlightened fish is not denying the ocean. It's just saying, well, I'll just swim in it.
Well, it's the difference between being in the water and trying to keep your head up above the water and you're scrabbling and fighting and seeking for the top of the water, to just floating on it and being in it.
So like, okay, well, I just let go and surrender to the experience and I'll float. I'm floating in an ocean of love. It's everywhere. I'm in it. It's me. I'm it. There's no separation between me and it. I'm the drop that's part of the ocean. There's no separation anymore. I'm just hanging out with all the other drops and really understanding there's no drops. There's no individual drop really. It's just one. It's one thing. It's one ocean. And it feels good to hang out in that ocean, just to be in that state. So there's nothing you need to really do, just hang out, and the currents will come, in this world, currents come and go, and the water gets directed, and it's all okay because I'm still the ocean. I haven't really left that reality anyway. The delusion is that the drop thinks that it's separate from the ocean. It says I'm the little drop. Somehow I'm separate from the other drops, and I'm separate from the ocean. And so I have my own identity. I mean, that's just crazy. How can that be? You are the ocean. You're one with the ocean. You're part of the ocean. And at the highest level of awakening, you are the ocean. There's no more consciousness of the drop. The individuation of any drop. I was listening to Neil Donald Walsh saying, well, explain it like this. The unity, that the hand is one, but each finger has its own seeming identity. Each finger has its own, right? So you look at, but that's just a perception, isn't it? You can perceive the fingers as individual, but they're not really at all. That's an illusion. They're actually just part of the one thing. So the oneness is, in the end, just consumes everything. You surrender into the ocean, and all sense of individuality is gone. He was still trying to, it's interesting how people try and fudge it. It's like non-dual is non-dual. It means there's no separation. He was like, well, God said to me that individuation is possible within unity because you got fingers. The fingers are individual, but it's part of the one hand. You see, but then you're starting to get into perception, aren't you? Perception and specifics as opposed to the oneness. And really what this Course in Miracles teaching points to is perfect oneness, pure formless awareness, perfect love. It is absolutely perfect, and there is no idea of any kind of individual self at all left. So you transcend the illusion entirely, the idea of hands and something individual that's part of a whole. That can be part of learning this thought system. Saying, okay, well, my finger is part of a whole, and the hand is part of a whole body. That can be part of learning oneness, going through the levels. But eventually, you got to recognize that at the highest level, there's only oneness. There's no more levels, and these analogies fade away. They're not needed anymore. There's this perfect oneness, pure formless awareness of perfect love. And in that state, I'm completely happy. If I'm there, then happiness is a given. There's nothing that can come in to negatively affect my happiness. It's the whole experience. It's everything. So that's what all these lessons are pointing to, is that, that ultimate state of heaven or bliss or nirvana, whatever you want to call it, where we just in that state and there's nothing else. And that's what our hearts yearn for. When he says we seek the truth, if we seemingly separated from that, we yearn for it, we seek it, and we need to accept that it's already there. That's the paradox. I keep seeking it, I'm saying it's not there, but actually it is already there, and I'm opening myself to the experience of it right now, which is why we practice. And it's like the meditations take you into the practice of that. Speaking of which, shall we dive into a meditation?
Yeah. And then I'll have to go.
Then you have to go.
I'll leave at the end. Yeah, just at the end. I like staying in the quiet after meditation, so I'll just slip off after meditation.
Yeah, that's fine.
Very much. And if you do a session, I might pop on. I'll see.
Do a session.
If you're doing a session later with Elaine, are you doing text later?
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe. I don't know when she's available. I've got to probably not. I've got to get up early and go to Beswatini tomorrow. So
yeah,
I need to, so probably not.
I'll do then.
But I'll let you know on the group.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So thanks,
Brilliant
Sally.
session. Thank you very much.
I'll see you Sunday. Yeah, always good. Nice to hang out with you. Share the ocean
very
of love.
Enjoyable. I got loads out of it. Thank you very much.
Oh, well, it is. It's just it's a lovely way to spend a few hours, isn't it? You'll say, well, why would you do it? Because it just feels good. That's why. I'm learning. I guess we're all learning as we go. But it just even if you've attained that ultimate state. I mean, you just why wouldn't you want to just hang out with people sharing it? That's because it feels.
Well, there's
good.
always more. There's always more, isn't there, to go on? Okay.
And yeah, until you finally ascended, let go of the human condition. There's probably some more learning. That's just how it goes.
Mm.
But the learning can be so enjoyable. It's like, well, why would I want to do anything else? This is really, lovely to
Mm.
spend time and connect in the, swimming in the truth together, really, as mighty companions, just swimming in the great ocean of love. What feels better, really? You think of a better way. I suppose you can swim in the great ocean of love anywhere at any time. But when you invite it in like this consciously, then it does sort of activate it, and you really feel it, like a heart-opening, expanding experience. So,
Yeah, when two or more people meet.
yeah, in my name, then I will be there. And you feel the presence of love in these sessions very strongly, even if there's only two of us. So, anyone listening to recordings, guys, join us. The more the merrier. A few more people. When there's 5 or 10 people on it, it seems to just. I mean, it doesn't matter, I suppose, in the end, because it's the love is there. But if we all, sharing in the love, it's like that then just radiates out through those people, and they take it with them. So join us, and I'm not sure you get the same on a YouTube recording. I don't know. I'm doing a YouTube just because really I'm building, I'll upload it, and then all of this content goes in for next year. So each lesson will have the section that we did, the recording, and it's just so much easier if I just upload it on the fly than having to do it afterwards. So that's why I'm doing it. But I'm trusting that the Spirit will lead people to do what they're called to do. So join us if you can. All right, so let's go into the meditation, shall we? All right, so just making yourself comfortable. Sitting with your feet shoulder width apart. Back straight. Cup your hands in your lap, close your eyes. Take a nice deep breath in through the nose, so breathing in and noticing how the stomach rises and the chest rises, subtle flow of air in through the nostrils. Scan your mind, notice any unhappiness in any form, so any uncomfortable feeling. Could be a little fear, irritation, frustration, anything that doesn't feel blissfully happy. Notice it, breathe into it again, just inviting the light of your true awareness, spacious awareness, in to your mind, into your heart. And be willing just to let go of this block. Reminding yourself that God, being love, is also happiness. To fear this is to be afraid of joy. And by keeping this block, you're afraid of joy. So blow it out. Let it all go. The breeze of your breath. To the nothingness that it really is. It's going, gone. Pull the lower stomach into the spine. Expel the last remaining air out. And you just rest in the deep peace and stillness. So breathing in and out through your nose now. Get into a nice deep, slow, rhythmical pattern of the breath. Notice how the breath flows in and the breath flows out. Stomach rises and the stomach falls. And you're going to breathe in as I speak these words. And then as you exhale, you're going to repeat them to yourself out loud, ideally as affirmations of the truth of today's lesson. And I'll just kind of guide you through that to start with. So take a nice deep breath in through the nose, stomach rising, chest rising. Hold the breath as you listen. So Yeshua says, happiness is an attribute of love. And as you exhale out through the nose, just speak out. Say those words slowly, firmly, determination. Happiness is an attribute of love. Inhale again through the nose. It cannot be apart from it. And exhale and speak it out loud. Breathe in again. Nor can it be experienced where love is not present. And then exhale and speak it. Can it be experienced where love is not present? Breathe in. Love has no limits, being everywhere. So really feel into that. You hold the breath. It's everywhere in your mind now. Everywhere. You're swimming in this ocean of love right now, and speak it out to affirm this truth to yourself. Love has no limits, being everywhere. Breathe in again. And therefore, joy is everywhere as well. So just feel into that. Feel the joy. Joy is something to be felt, not intellectually experienced. Feel the joy in your heart. Eckhart Tolle describes joy as vibrantly alive peace. It's like a peace on steroids, peace just coming alive, bubbling in you, bubbling up in your awareness. Seems to want to express through you. So exhale, have a sense of extending that joy as you say. And therefore joy is everywhere as well. Breathe in. Yet, my mind can deny that this is so, believing there are gaps in love where sin can enter. So exhale and express that. My mind can deny this joy, can believe that something called sin, an error, is made permanent and real, my perception, seemingly having consequences that are dire, that demand punishment, so fear arises. All of that can block my joy, bringing pain instead of joy. Exhale on the truth of that. Speak it. Breathe in. This strange belief limits happiness by redefining love as limited. Speak that out as you exhale. Breathe in again. And introducing opposition and what is no limit and no opposite. And again, speak out. Seems to be an illusion of duality, some kind of opposition to love and peace and joy. Breathe in again. Fear is then associated with love. Its results become a heritage of minds. Speak that out. Breathe in again. These minds think what they've made is real. And exhale and say that. Think that all this is real. These images, there's no reality and truth as you breathe in. And you exhale and speak it. images of no reality and truth bear witness to the fear of perfect love, which must be joy as well. So the images seemingly witness to the fear of perfect love. Fear of perfect love seems to be real instead of the joy that it is. Breathe in again. So I will try again to let go of this basic error and teach myself. Breathe in. God, being perfect love, is also happiness. Speak that out as you exhale. God, being perfect love, is also happiness. You fear this, as you breathe in, is to be afraid of joy. And breathe in and really look within and see if there's any fear going on in your mind. Fear is really just the fear of joy, fear of your happiness. Deepest fear, as Marion Williamson says, not that we're inadequate. The deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure, a light not our darkness, which most frightens us. We ask ourselves, who am I to be brilliant, gorgeous, talented, fabulous? Actually, who are you not to be? You're a child of God. Not playing small doesn't serve the world. There's nothing enlightened about shrinking, so that people won't feel insecure around you. We're all meant to shine as children do. We're born to make manifest the glory of God that is within us. It's not just in some of us, it's in everyone. We let our own light shine when we consciously give other people permission to do the same. As we are liberated from fear, our presence automatically liberates others. Say that in the first person. As I am liberated from my own fear, I automatically give other people permission to do the same. Exhale, feel a letting go of fear, of joy, fear of your own power, your own glory, your own magnificence. So this corrects the false belief that pure formless awareness of perfect love is fear. Associated your true awareness with fear. No wonder you're scared of joy then. And this idea also emphasizes happiness belongs to me because of what it is, because of what I am. So just breathing in again. Allow this one correction to be placed within your mind. And invite it in. Welcome all the happiness it brings. With it as truth replaces fear, joy becomes what you expect to take the place of pain. So breathe this all in, breathe in the truth of joy, happiness. Allow it to come into every part of your mind, every cell of your body. Is in the joy. All right, being love, it will be given you. So God, being love, is also happiness. Is happiness I seek today. Happiness I choose today. I cannot fail because perfect love and happiness are the truth. Say that with conviction. Say that out loud. Just breathe in. God, being perfect love, is also happiness. And it is happiness I choose today. I cannot fail because perfect love and happiness are the truth. Exhale on the truth of that. And just sink into that state of happiness, which is love. It's the same state, they're just words that point to the same thing. The state is the truth. So enter into the state of love and happiness. Nothing else to go, nothing else to do. Just please relax and be still. The next couple of minutes of deep silence. Hey John, we're just in a meditation. So just finishing that off. Just watch your breath and letting the happiness and the peace and the love just arise in you. Sinking into them and deeper to the experience of joy. Invite that in and realize there's nothing to be scared of. No else to go, nothing else to do, nothing else to think about. Just breathe, relax, be still. The next couple of minutes of deep silence. Any thoughts arise that seem to disturb your peace? Remind yourself that God, being perfect love, is also happiness. And this happiness I choose today cannot fail, because perfect love and happiness are the truth. And then just rest in that truth for another minute or so. Nothing else to do, nowhere else to go. You just hang out in a great ocean of truth. And happiness is a natural feeling as part of that. The next couple of minutes of happy silence. So just coming back from this deep state to an awareness of the body and the breath, senses, by all of that, the world. And on the count of 3, you're going to open your eyes. So 1, Breathing in, notice the stomach rise, the chest rise. Subtle flow of air in through the nostrils, perhaps. Notice the energy rising up the spine, clench the sphincter muscle. Another deep breath in, the top of the inhale, you pause. Just scan your mind, notice any kind of unhappiness lurking in there, any uncomfortable feeling, feels contracted, limiting, constricted in any way, shape, or form. Just breathe into that. And remind yourself that God, being perfect love, is also happiness. It's happiness I choose. Today, right now, I cannot fail because perfect love and happiness are the truth. When then you exhale and just blow it all out, let it all go. With the help of your breath. Imagine it's like a dark cloud leaving you, black smoke. These kinds of images can help to release. It's a feeling, drop the feeling. Just feel like you're dropping into this underlying state where you're okay. There's peace, you're okay, you're not feeling stressed. This is we call foundational happiness. State of just being okay. And joy can come in then. The foundational joy, vibrantly alive version of this can come in and inspire you to live in the joy of life. So practice today's lesson frequently, ideally every hour. She recommends 5 minutes every hour to practice. Listen to the breath break, one of the breath breaks I've sent you, or if you don't have time, just follow the instructions given you in your Telegram and email message for the day. So it is. So it is said, so it is done. And so 2, you're just going to notice your body again, the weight of your body, what you're feeling and touching, your hands, subtle flow of air on your skin perhaps. Breathe in. Notice that air, notice the smell in your nose, maybe any taste in your mouth, notice what you're hearing. But notice that there's still this deeper awareness within you that's underlying all these sense perceptions. You stay anchored in that, because this is the state in which you are happy, anchored in your true awareness, even while you perceive your senses in the world. That's the art of being in the world, but not of the world. It's enlightened living, the happy dream, the real world. There is language to describe that state of awareness. So you can stay in that for the rest of the afternoon, rest of the session. If you're going to carry on the session, carry it on into your evening and your weekend. Top yourself up frequently with a lesson to help you do that. So it is said, so it's done. Now on the count of 3, open your eyes. So just take a minute to look around, ground yourself back into this so-called reality, visual reality. Look around, observe various objects in the room, and notice that underlying those objects is this happiness. It's always there. It doesn't matter what you look at. It's the same feeling. You can close your eyes, you can open your eyes, you can look at another object. It doesn't matter. It's the same awareness. This underlying happiness can never leave you, no matter what your senses are perceiving. That's the lesson. So just notice that experientially for another few moments. You scan the room, notice that this underlying state of happiness has not changed one iota because your eyes are open, because you're looking at various objects. It really doesn't matter. The state remains because it's permanent. It's what you're just teaching us. The truth can never go away. It's always there. It goes with you wherever you go. Therefore, you can always be happy. Permanent happiness. The only state, the only place within your own mind where you'll find happiness. If you look outside of yourself, the world is very shifting and changing, and evidently that's not going to be a source of sustainable happiness, which is really the key message of this lesson. So that brings us to the end of the meditation and of the first part of the session. So thank you, Sally, for joining. I know you're going off, so namaste. See you on Sunday, I hope. And for John, and I saw Christine join. I don't know what happened to her. Let's dive into some text, shall we? So welcome again, John.
Hi, John.
Yeah. So shall we just jump into the text for today?
Yeah,
Yeah. Glad you arrived. It was perfect. Your timing's good, I have to say it. You just get a
I
feeling.
know. I do.
You get a feeling, okay, now's about the time. So
Yeah.
and then you normally catch the last few minutes of the
Yeah,
meditation,
I know.
and then off we go. So okay. Let's let me just stop the recording. Okay, so let's stop that. I don't want that. I want that's going to be bigger. Okay, so this one is all right. So we're doing section
7.
8. No, what are we? Are we section 8 today?
Said 7 when you just opened it.
Attainment of the real world. Let's just check. I think this was the one we did yesterday. Yeah. So this is the one we did. This is a 17 paragraph.
Oh, it is. Yeah.
So perception and knowledge. This one's called From Perception to Knowledge. Okay, so let's just whack that in. We'll just have to do, I haven't done ChatGPT or anything. So just that in there. You're on the phone, okay, that's fine.
John, I've got to go at 5.
Okay, so you've
Good.
got an hour and a bit, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, we'll see what we can do to speed things up. So this is from perception to knowledge, and share my screen. Okay, so there we go. There's one. So all right, so this got it set up. Okay, so this one's called From Perception to Knowledge. It's 10 paragraphs. We'll see how much we can get through. I want to read paragraph 1.
Yeah, it's an interesting one.
Hmm.
All healing is released from the past.
I think read it here. I haven't done any translation, so we'll just translate as we go.
Okay. So all healing is released from the past. That is why the remembrance of pure formless awareness,
Perfect love. So Holy Spirit, or remembrance of perfect love,
is the only healer. It teaches that the past does not exist, a fact which belongs to the sphere of knowledge, and which therefore no one in the illusory world can know.
Hmm. We put in illusory.
I don't know, I just threw it in.
No one in the illusory world. No
You don't-
one. No one identified. Maybe this might be identified with the illusory world can know.
Oh yes, okay, good. Yeah, that's actually helpful. Yeah.
Yeah, well, if it makes it clearer, then it's a good. Would indeed be impossible. It is
Would
indeed. It is indeed.
Oh yes, it is indeed impossible to be in the illusory world,
Say in this world, shall we?
this world, with this knowledge.
Hmm.
Okay.
So if we really knew who we were, we wouldn't be here.
Ah,
Our minds were totally enlightened, and we knew that
yeah,
this was the truth. That's knowledge. That state of certainty. Then you wouldn't be here, because why would you have a split? You wouldn't have a split mind. You wouldn't have a false identity going on, false self-concept,
yeah,
which would cause you to incarnate and hang around in a body in a world of time and space. So
yeah. For the mind that knows this unequivocally knows also it dwells in eternity and utilizes no perception at all.
hmm. So we're talking about pure formless awareness, perfect love, pure being. In the mystic traditions, you enter into these deep states. They call it samadhi in the Eastern tradition, the yogic tradition. Samadhi, nirvana, kingdom of heaven, where the world of perception is not there. The course's equivalent would be revelation. A revelation is a state in which there's no perception at all.
Ah, yes, okay. Okay, that's it therefore does not consider where it is, because the concept where does not mean anything to it.
Hmm.
It knows that it is everywhere, just as it has everything and forever.
Hmm. Yes, it has everything. We don't end there. It's everything. So in these enlightened states, the universal hallmark of the enlightened beings throughout the ages has been that they see the unity. They see that everything it's everywhere. God is everywhere. They see it in everything. They are it. It is them. And the mind knows that it's everywhere. The mind isn't identified with this small little person and this body. It is expansive in its awareness,
Mm.
and it has everything forever. So there's no sense of lacking or loss, because I have this infinite, eternal love, peace, and joy within me, and it's everywhere. How can I be separate from it? How can the ideas of loss and sacrifice really exist? So,
Yep. Well, that's a nice paragraph. That makes
Yeah,
sense.
a nice opening. So do you want to summarize it briefly?
Yes, it's saying that all healing is released from past grievance and projections through connection with the Holy Spirit.
Yeah, let's show you a diagram quickly. This might be helpful.
Mm.
So look at the timeline idea. So in our ego state, we identify with the character on the timeline. So our past is real, all the traumas and whatever experiences we've had, all is very real to you. And that past conditions you into the person that you think you are, who now responds in the present moment accordingly, based on past conditioning. So very much the past is brought into the present. And then from that perspective, you now look at the future and you go, well, I can expect the same or similar or worse. And so the ego's mindset is very much rooted in time. The past is carried into every experience, and then that is used to anticipate a future that is going to be something like the past, or if you're pessimistic type, or worse. If you're optimistic, better. But either way, you're not in the now, are you? You're projecting into the future. So you get caught up in the timeline, and all of that is used to deny the truth that this knowledge that he's talking about is there. That your true awareness, pure formless awareness of perfect love, which is eternal, which is the now, it's who you really are, is always there. There is no past, because none of this really happened. The truth is that it's always been now. And this state of awareness is actually uninterrupted. So, and you can come into this awareness through the Holy Spirit, which is the remembrance of perfect love that's represented by the blue arrows. So it can lift you up above the ego's misperceptions of time and space into the now, which is eternal. So it's the portal. You go through the now into this infinite, eternal, state of feeling like everything is there, everything you need, everything you ever wanted is there, and it's always there. You can never lose it. It's happening forever. And you can only do that in the now. And then from that perspective, that's why it's a double arrow. You now come back and you perceive the situation differently without the reference to the past. You see it purely from this state of presence, which eliminates the past. So you can then correct all of those past mistakes. None of the past conditioning comes in, and you can be open to a truly inspired creative solution. Whatever needs to happen on the level of form can now come in, because you're not limited to the past, your past programming and conditioning, which the ego references. So it's downward arrow, that ego psychological or emotional attachment, is based on the past. You can almost link all these. There's like a line that links all of these, strings all these together. Now you bring all of those experiences, all of your pain and trauma and whatever else, into the present moment on that arrow. So that's its reference point. That's seemingly the source. And yes, you're just saying, but the past doesn't exist. None of those experiences were real. They were all delusional. They were all a disconnection from the only thing that is real. So now you remember them. Well, that's even more delusional. They were never real in the moment. Now you're just remembering them. That's even more delusional. Bring us into the idea that everything is here now for us. So there's this infinite abundance in the present moment, which we can access if we are willing to let go of the past.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
Happy with that? So moving swiftly on, let's just make sure we don't translate the old one. So let's two. Okay, and then just read the Read the alternative version in the grey, and we'll translate as we go.
The very real difference between perception and knowledge becomes quite apparent if you consider this. There is nothing partial about knowledge.
Okay, understand that? Nothing partial.
Yes.
The partial implies a preference, doesn't it? I'm partial to that. So it's part of the idea of separation. Oh, I have a preference for that. I'm partial to that. Really, what I'm saying is everything's not the same to me. I have a preference for that thing. So therefore, I have an aversion to something else.
Okay. Yeah.
Nothing partial about knowledge. It's whole. It's complete. There's nothing. Perception is always partial.
Yeah.
Well, I prefer this to that. Perception is always comparative. There's this and there's that, and I choose that over this. Why? Because I'm partial to it. Why? Because I have an identification with it. My personal self has somehow got identified that is better than that.
Yeah.
But there's nothing partial about knowledge.
Yeah. Okay, it's good.
Yeah, every aspect is whole.
Every aspect is whole, and therefore no aspect is separate. Yeah, that's okay.
So again, he's saying the fundamental distinction is you can't mix them. You can't be whole and separate at the same time. It's not possible. If you're whole, then you're not separate. And if you're separate, then you're not whole.
Yeah.
This is it's such a simple logical distinction, but that is the essence of this whole teaching. That's simple logic.
Yeah.
It's one or the other. You can't be whole and separate at the same time. And people can try and fudge it. I mean, I was listening to Neil Donald Walsh in a little video, and he said, well, how, God, when he had his conversation with God experience, how God supposedly explained it to him was, well, that your hand is whole, but you have these individual fingers that you can perceive. So there's an individuation within the wholeness, but that's fudging it. In the end, there's only oneness. There's only you can't look to the level of form, like a hand or anything in the level of form, to demonstrate the formless. It's timeless, it's formless, it's beyond anything that you can really symbolize or conceptualize in this world. So that analogy might be helpful to start with. Okay, well, my hand is whole. It seems to have these individual fingers, but actually the truth is there's only a hand. And the bigger truth is there's only a body. And the bigger truth is that there's only this bigger, the human race that I'm part of, you see. So it's like levels and levels of oneness until eventually you say, well, actually there's only oneness. Just levels of awareness of that. So Yeshua's just going for the whole thing here and saying knowledge is the top of the tree. Knowledge is beyond perception. If we look at this, it's the level one. It's completely beyond any idea of separation. So there is no perception in knowledge. You can't really reconcile them, which is what attempts like that, taking your hand and trying to explain it, are trying to reconcile the domain of perception with the domain of perfect unity, which is knowledge. And in the end, they don't reconcile. It's one or the other. We just have to make our choice. Okay.
Every aspect is whole, and therefore no aspect is separate. You are an aspect of knowledge being in the mind of God, who knows you. And by the word aspect, it means you are part of.
Yeah, pure formless. Being in, so we'll just say instead of the mind of God, being in pure formless awareness of perfect love. Which knows you. How about as itself?
Yeah.
It's nice.
Yeah.
So again, we're pointing, language doesn't really do it justice. An aspect of knowledge that would seem to indicate that you're a part of knowledge. You're not the whole of it. But actually you're the whole of it. So maybe we could change that. Your knowledge. What do you think? You are knowledge, not an aspect of knowledge.
Yeah, I like that.
Well, it's just that's the truth. You are it. You are the whole knowledge. There is no sense of partial in knowledge. It's you are all of it.
Yeah, yeah.
You are knowledge, being in pure formless awareness of perfect love, which knows you as itself. So that's a statement of level 1 truth. You are this. You are this. There is no separation between you and it. You're not an aspect of it. You're the whole of it. As he says, all knowledge must be yours. So you can't be an aspect of it and then also have all knowledge. But I mean, it's tricky because you're using language, aren't you, to try and describe what is completely beyond language. But then he's saying, so actually this is more in alignment. You are knowledge is more in alignment with his next statement. All knowledge must be yours.
Yeah.
Or in you is all knowledge.
So all knowledge must be yours, for in you is all knowledge. Perception at its loftiest is never complete. Even the perception of the remembrance of perfect love, as perfect as perception can be, is without meaning in heaven.
Yeah. So if we have the perception of the Holy Spirit, we're identified with our true self or Christ, we will perceive things correctly from the perspective of oneness. But we are still perceiving something as outside of ourselves.
Yeah.
There's still some kind of sensory input. Oh, there's this, person, place, circumstance happening. Okay, but I perceive it correctly. I don't separate myself from that. That's the most perfect perception you can have, but you're still perceiving some kind of separation. It's without meaning in heaven. So it has no this domain of separation of all these characters in time and space has no meaning in this top level 1 awareness of truth, because there is only perfect oneness. So there's no separation at all to exist there. It's without meaning in. So that's remember what heaven is.
The foundation of source.
Heaven is the state
the state
of pure formless awareness.
State.
So in that state of pure formless awareness, perception has no meaning because it's just pure formless awareness. There's nothing to perceive. There's no subject-object duality, like I, subject, perceive, object seemingly outside of me. That's perception, which is based on a split in the mind. I seemingly have to be separate from what I'm perceiving. And as the quantum physicists tell us, there's no reality in the absence of observation. So it's hallucination. I, seemingly separate self, now project this out based on my desire for separation, and I now see it as separate from me. But that's my own miscreation. I'm making that up, and then I'm perceiving it as real, which reinforces it, and that's the domain of perception we got trapped in. And knowledge transcends that and says, no, there's no subject object, and so no perception is possible in heaven. It's just perfect oneness, and nothing to distinguish anything from anything else. There can't be a subject and object if everything is the same, can there? Okay, so perception can reach everywhere.
Perception can reach everywhere under its guidance.
For the vision of Christ.
For the vision of Christ beholds everything in light. For the vision of your true self beholds everything in light.
Yeah, and we're going to personalize something. So if I consider this, there's nothing partial about knowledge. Every aspect is whole. Forgetting to I am knowledge, being in pure formless awareness, which knows me as itself. All knowledge must be mine. All knowledge is in me. Loftus is never complete. Without me. Okay, there we go. And we didn't do the first one, did we? Remembers a perfect teacher's past. Therefore, no one. Indeed, is impossible for mind that knows this. Yeah, we don't actually, that doesn't need to really be personalized. So, okay. So, even the perception, everything in light. So, light is pure formless awareness.
Why is he using, in number 7, why is he using the word perception? Because perception is kind of level 2, isn't it?
Yeah.
Of the world.
Yeah. So
Oh, I
perception
see.
can reach
Okay.
everywhere
So perception,
under its guidance.
our worldly perception can reach everywhere under its guidance.
Yeah. Well, perception is by definition is worldly. Perception is only required
Right. Yeah.
when you have a seemingly external world and you're seemingly a person subject in the world, perceiving various people, places, circumstances, and events outside of you in this seemingly external world. That's perception, isn't it?
Yeah.
So perception can reach everywhere under its guidance. We see, well, actually, it's all the same. Everyone's one with me. There is really no separation, although my senses tell me that there's bodies walking around and there's various objects and trees and flowers and there's this external world. I interpret it in a way that that doesn't separate me from anything. So this is the unity consciousness they talk about, that all enlightened beings reach. Well, I realize that I'm not separate, that I'm one with everyone and everything. And I live in that state of unity consciousness rather than the state of separation. So this is the vision of your true self that beholds everything in pure formless awareness. So what underlies every perception then is this awareness that's always there, pure formless awareness that's underpinning. It's the ground of being, the base state, which you never depart from. You're always rooted in that, even while you're perceiving, you're interacting in the world. That awareness is now always there, very, very strongly in the enlightened beings of this world, and that directs their thoughts and their words and their actions. So now they're not coming from the separated self; they're coming from pure formless awareness via the true self. The true self is the mechanism of translating this awareness, top level, level 1. It's like the step down transformer that can transform that into a perception of the world and allow you then to do things, to say things, to speak, to act in the world based on your perception. So it's a very helpful idea while we still seemingly in the dream world, that we have a true self or Christ self that can have true perceptions, which is the Holy Spirit. Holy Spirit gives us the true perceptions. So, yeah, that's the system.
Yeah, it's good. Is it my true self beholds everything?
Yeah, so it's all picked up. We're personalizing. I just decided, I mean, otherwise you've got two translations, haven't you?
Yeah.
That's too much. Then you've got to go and refer to the third translation to do another step of, okay, well, let's personalize it. Is anyone going to do that? I think one's enough. It's like, okay, so it's in the first person. You say it in the first person, so it becomes an affirmation of the truth. And that's how we're doing the workbook as well. So then, you've got the whole course translated into first person. And if you want the original third person, then there it is in the original.
Yeah.
I think in the translation, there's a lot of the learning happens, doesn't it? You go, okay, I can see, how the translations open my eyes, open my mind to maybe a deeper meaning.
Mm.
Okay, so what's he saying here? The last one, do you want to read? That no perception, however.
Yet no perception, however pure, will last forever.
So holy is pure. however pure. So the perception can be very pure, coming from pure formless awareness, inspired by that, but it's temporary, because this world is temporary. So perception is temporary by definition. Knowledge is permanent and eternal by definition. Okay, so what's he saying in number 2? You want to summarize that?
Well, it's saying that knowledge is saying that the difference between perception and knowledge is that perception is of the world and partial, whereas knowledge is completely whole. And is saying that also the Holy Spirit can transform perception into almost into knowledge.
Well, it's a bridge, isn't it? So you think, you look at this diagram. I mean, if you're stuck in perception that I'm a subject, an individual person perceiving all these separate people and objects in me, how do I get back to pure formless awareness of perfect love, which is totally one? There's a massive shift, isn't it?
Yeah.
So saying, well, perception is the intermediary step. You must correct your perception and start perceiving from the perspective now of oneself, the true self or the Christ. So all of your true perceptions, you're seeing love, you're seeing oneness behind them. So you interpret them differently. And that's how you start to learn that you are one. That yes, actually the truth is there is only one self. There is only one awareness behind this all. I must start infusing my perceptions with that awareness first, before I can identify fully with this awareness and just merge into this awareness. So perception is the way out. We've got ourselves into this dream of perception. We must find our way out through that same mechanisms we got in by correcting it. And so hence you have the whole, it's an operating system really he's giving us. For level 1, there's absolute truth, but that has to be stepped down into perception via the mechanism of the true self and the Holy Spirit to allow you to correct your mind systematically and progressively so that it's ready finally to just merge back in. God takes the final step, he says, and just merge back into this awareness when you're ready. But that's going to require a lot of mind training to correct your perception while you seemingly here living in the domain of perception, which is where the mind training, the identification with the Christ and the Holy Spirit, remembrance of perfect love comes in. And that's what the course is set at this domain. He's saying, I can't teach you the meaning of love, so I can't teach you this, but I can teach you to remove all the blocks to its awareness down here so that you can naturally ascend there. You naturally start to experience more and more of this awareness. Okay, happy with number 2?
Yep. You do not.
No, sorry. I need to just. I didn't have time to set this all up, so we just got to done this before. You start reading the last one.
Well, I've got the book in front of me actually.
Oh, really? Yeah. So number 3, they read it in the grey and the alternative. We'll translate as we go.
Perfect perception then has many elements in common with knowledge, making transfer to it possible. Yet the last step must be taken by pure formless awareness, the perfect love, because the last step in my redemption, which seems to be in the future, was accomplished by pure formless awareness of perfect love in my creation.
Yeah. In my remember what we translate creation.
Oh yes, in my extension.
Yeah. So I was never created. And it's like, oh, suddenly you come into being. You've always been this presence. This awareness has always been there. You're just the extension of it. That's that's why we change it. Separation has not interrupted it. Creation cannot be interrupted. So that would be being. Being cannot be interrupted. I still am. I am that I am. I still am, irrespective of the delusion of separation and all of the images projected onto the screen of time and space and all of the experiences I've had in here. It actually cannot be interrupted. Because if it could, I would then be dead. I would cease to exist.
Yeah.
If I could stop being, then I would have no existence at all, you see. So it can't really be interrupted. The ego's just distorted it. It's come in and it's covered it over, and it's distorted being. And we now seem to have another life based on that distortion, another experience. But the being is still there. Otherwise, we could have no existence at all. Okay, carry on. Separation.
Yeah. Are we on number 2 now? We are, aren't we? Yet the last step must be taken by pure formless awareness. Oh yeah, okay. Okay, yeah.
That.
The separation has not interrupted it. Being cannot be interrupted. The separation is merely a faulty formulation of reality with no effect at all. The miracle.
That's quite a powerful statement, isn't it?
Yeah.
The formulation of reality. Seeming reality. Faulty formulation, maybe even seeming. Faulty formulation of seeming reality with no effect at all. And so it seems to be real, but it's all false. Based on a false idea, what can you expect? But a simulation. It's a simulated reality. It's a false imposter reality that's been used to cover over the true reality, which is the ground of being, this being that underlies it. And now our minds are continuously being pulled into the faulty formulation. Because it's very loud and it's trying to get our attention and distract us, it's trying to pull us there all the time. To get our minds to attach to it, so that our minds believe that we are separate. That's the whole, that's what the faulty formulation is for. So we identify ourselves as a separate self and not as the being that we are. But it has no effect at all. So whatever's happening in the faulty formulation has no effect at all. The being remains unchanged, cannot be interrupted. Okay, so the miracle or the
miracle, the correction, without a function in the state of pure formless awareness, is needful here. Corrections without
a function in the state of pure formless awareness. Well done.
Are needful here.
Or needed.
Are needed here.
Yeah. Or in this, should we say in this? Or needed in this false reality.
Yes, that's helpful.
The aspects of reality, capital R, can still be seen, and they will replace aspects of unreality.
Aspects of reality can be seen in everything and everywhere, yet only pure formless awareness of perfect love can gather them together by crowning them as one with the final gift of eternity.
So we can see it here, in our enlightened perception. We can see the aspect. We can see oneness in everything. We can see it in people. We can see it in objects. Because that awareness, when we start to become aware of, is that awareness is always there with us. What is perceiving? Who is the self that's perceiving? It's always there, isn't it? So it can be seen in everything and everywhere. But in the end, all of those perceptions, those enlightened perceptions, can be gathered together, and you merge back into the eternal awareness that is beyond perception. Perception is not required anymore. There's no covering over of the truth anymore that's required. You don't identify with a separate self. Okay, so what's he saying here in summary?
Yes. Well, he's saying that we can connect with spirit by correcting our perceptions, by using the Holy Spirit, but in the end, God will take the final step and scoop us back into eternity.
Yeah.
Reconnect us with eternity.
Yeah, the separation is just a faulty formulation of reality. I think that's very key. Separation hasn't interrupted being, it's just a faulty formulation. Our job is just to see it, see the separation for what it is, return our minds back into this primary state of pure formless awareness, of perfect love, and in which the separation ceases to be.
I was just thinking the other day, actually, because there was a passage I was reading the other day. It's in 1 or 2 sections ago, where it talks about the power of the guilt of feeling that we have killed God.
Yeah.
The overwhelming fear that the overwhelming guilt that produces, which then transmutes into projection and hatred of God, and separation. Just that all that language is really kind of very, very vibrant, very living, very, very energetic in a way. Not quite.
What the language you use to describe the guilt.
Yeah, it kind of gets at this kind of the guilt of denying God. And the feeling
which is the whole problem, because as long as we believe that we've done it, the guilt means that we've done it. We really have denied God. We really have destroyed God. And now we feel guilty, and now punishment must be required, and we have to invent a false God who's going to punish us. And then I was
trying to balance that out against this idea that it was all just a tiny mad idea.
Yeah, well, it was.
Yeah.
So the guilt is you're guilty for nothing. It was a tiny mad delusion, which isn't true. So what are you guilty for if it's not true?
But when we are
destroy God,
when we are in the illusion, the guilt is very, very real.
Yeah,
and
it's impossible.
It's impossible to see it as a tiny mad idea.
Well, yeah, you start off with trying to let go. You see, you're trying to let go of some of that feeling, relieve the feelings. Okay, well, what would you feel like without the feeling? Could you just let it go, be aware of it, allow it to dissipate, and then the burden lightens a bit. And then the more that happens, the more you let go, the more you can start to maybe see that it's possible to not have a state where you're guilty, to be completely free of it and free yourself some of it.
Yeah.
And that's that's the process to the point where you go, well, there is only pure formless awareness of perfect love. That's all that's true. That's all that remains. The idea of separation never came in. It never covered this over. There were never any of these crazy consequences of sin and guilt and fear and attack. We have a look at our little diagram. None of this really happened, because if the idea of separation isn't real, then how can you have a seeming split into an ego consciousness and an individual self, and then feel guilty and sinful for destroying pure formless awareness of perfect love, and then have fear, the false expectation of punishment appearing real, and need to project all of this out. So you now project your guilt out onto others, and you have accusation, blame, and attack. You have a concept of a fearful, wrathful God. It all comes from one tiny mad idea of separation. That's what he's trying to say to us.
Mm.
The entire delusional thought system arises because of this tiny mad idea, and that tiny mad idea is not true. So all of its consequences are false. They have no effect in truth.
Yeah. Albeit very powerful.
No, because our minds,
when we're in it.
our minds are powerful. If we believe an idea, we say, this is now my God. The God of the ego is the belief in separation. This is now what I choose to believe in, is my fundamental, my foundational principle of my existence, separation. I'm a separate self. I'm an individual self. If I want to believe that, then for me it becomes real, and all of its consequences become real. And then we get caught up in this nightmare, and our own belief keeps us locked into the nightmare. And the consequences seem to be real, because that's what we created. That thought system demands these consequences. There's nothing else that could happen from a false idea than all of this. And now that all seems to be very real to us. And Yeshua has to come in and remind us that no, none of it's real, because the idea behind it all is not real. It's not true. So you can pull the plug on all of it, because none of it's true. You don't have to think any of these thoughts. You don't have to believe any of this. You can simply return your mind to the state that it originally was in before the idea of separation entered, and still is in. There's still this awareness that is untouched by any idea of separation. Still exists in your mind. And so that's the return.
Mm.
And then crowns them, gathers them together. So these reinterpretations, what he's talking about here, is the reinterpretation of the ego's dream by the Holy Spirit, or the awareness of oneness. And so that's the blue arrows, translating whatever experiences you have here, all the ego's delusions, and saying, no, that's not true. No, that's not true either. That's still not true. Remember that only this is true. And so you're correcting your mind, taking it back into the awareness of oneness. And then God will crown all of it. So he says the crowning glory, how does he describe it? By crowning them as one with the final gift of eternity. So all of these little corrections, the blue arrows, lead you back into the state, and eventually that state is all that remains, and the crowning glory of the all of the work that you've done, that you're simply able to enter into the state and stay there for all eternity. Okay, so happy with number 3, John. So we move on to number 4.
Yeah, I just need a half a minute.
Okay, no problem. I'll get it ready.
Okay.
All right. Moving swiftly on to number 4. So there's number 4. Let's read in the alternative.
Apart from the source,
Father or source, yeah. And
apart from the source and the extension of pure formless awareness,
yeah, I'll just say the extension. And maybe its
yes, and its extension.
extension.
Yeah. The remembrance of perfect love has no function. Apart from the source and its extension, remembrance of perfect love.
Yeah. Because it's designed to connect. The only point of the remembrance of perfect love is to connect the extension that's forgotten, its source, with the source. That's its function. Maybe we switch that around. Remembrance of perfect love has no function. Apart from the source and its extension. They're not separate from either, being in the mind of both.
Remembrance of perfect love has no function apart from. Yeah, that's better actually, because it's this word apart. Remembrance of perfect love has no function. It has no function separate from the source and its extension. Yeah. Apart from. It is not separate from either, being in the awareness of both and knowing that awareness is one.
Oh, so the Holy Spirit knows that there's only one awareness. In our separated state, we think we've disconnected from that awareness, and it's there to remind us that no, you haven't. There's really only this one awareness. You are it, and it is you. So it can't be separate from you or from your source, because it's the same awareness. It's reuniting the mind that seemingly denied that awareness with the original awareness that it always had, and saying, well, that's your awareness. Remember, that's who you are. So it's just, remembrance is a useful idea, that it's translating as remembrance, because it's just a memory. It's a remembrance of that state. It's in our own mind. We remember it, and the memory takes us back to the state that we seemingly left. There's nothing so mystical. It's just a memory of the original state that's been covered over and denied. That's still in our mind. That if we follow that memory, it will take us back into the full experience of that state again.
Yeah, it is a thought of perfect love. It is a thought of perfect love, and perfect love has given.
I think we should translate that as memory. It is a memory of love.
Yes, it is a memory of perfect love, and perfect love has given it to me. Pure forms awareness of perfect love has given it to me because it has no thoughts, it does not share.
Change that as an awareness. Has no awareness, it does not share. So the problem with thoughts is that we sort of think of it's obviously our perceptual problem. We think of thoughts as the kind of thoughts we have in this world, but that's not what he's capital T. The capital thought is actually more like awareness, isn't it?
Okay, yeah.
Not any subject object kind of thought. It's a higher awareness kind of thought.
Yeah.
So we translate it as awareness because it has no awareness. It does not share. So it's given me this awareness to remember. It's a memory of perfect love, pure formless awareness of perfect love has given it to me, right? So the source that I've forgotten has reminded me. It's still there in my mind, and it's helping me to remember. So you can see how the Holy Spirit is not separate from that source. It's just the memory of that source, of that state. It's given it to me because it has no awareness it doesn't share. You know, that awareness is still my foundation, still in my mind, and I can't escape it whether I like it or not. It's going to be in my memory whether I like it or not. I can't, no matter how much I try and deny it and cover it over, I can never lose that memory fully, fortunately, which is why we can be saved or freed from our dream, because we can never completely forget that memory, that state, original state of awareness from which we came. And the Holy Spirit is that memory that's been here throughout time since the tiny mad idea seemingly created the separation. It hasn't, through all of the time that the ego's tried to obliterate it, the ego has never managed, because it can't destroy the truth, no matter how much it tries. No awareness it does not share. Okay, its message.
This message speaks of timelessness in time, and that is why the how do you, I forgot how you translate Christ.
True self.
Oh, right, okay, yeah. This message speaks of timelessness in time, and that is why my true self's vision looks on everything with love.
Yeah, so this is how the timeless, the eternal state of pure formless awareness translates into perception via this vision that sees only love, sees that everything is really the same as it. You know, that's the unconditional love. Maybe we should say unconditional. What do you think? So unconditional says there's nothing in time and space, nothing in the world of perception that can affect that. You know, it's timeless. It's beyond time and anything that can change. That even
I'm just kind of just wrestling with that one a bit, John. Its message speaks of timelessness in time, and that is why my true self's vision perceives everything with unconditional love.
Yeah.
Okay, its message speaks of timelessness in time. That is why my true self vision perceives.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So the two go together. Yeah.
Look at a diagram here. So timelessness in time. So the Holy Spirit reminds us of the timeless, the eternal, in time, on any point on the timeline. So it gets us to be in the now. It roots us into an awareness that is beyond time, the timeless. And that awareness translates in this world as love. We call that love. I don't have any past grievances. There's no reference to the past. There's no fear. I'm purely present. And in that purely present state of awareness, I can start recognizing that everything is that awareness. That awareness underlies everyone and everything. That's the unconditional love that Christ's vision brings. The sense that I am as you are. You know, I don't love you in the ego's way. If I'm attached to you, I want something from you. I just recognize that I'm the same as you. You're the same. That's the unconditional love, coming from this state of awareness through the Holy Spirit, which is the remembrance, That's the connector between the original state of awareness that's there and our mind. That now downloads it into our awareness in time and allows us to perceive the things and people and circumstances and everything happening in the timeline correctly with Christ's vision.
Hmm. Yet not even my true self's vision, yet even my true self's vision is not its reality.
Yeah. It's
The golden,
capitalized.
yes. The golden aspects of reality that spring to light under its loving gaze are partial glimpses of these states of pure formless awareness that lies beyond them.
So light is true awareness. Spring into maybe that arise. Golden aspects of reality that arise in true awareness. So this would be, I see everything as one. I'm connected. I'm feeling, really, really loving towards other people and everything. I'm not perceiving anything as wrong. I'm not judging anything. I'm not fearing. These are the golden aspects of reality under its loving guidance. Maybe you could say loving guidance. Partial glimpses of the heaven that lies beyond them. So partial glimpses of state of pure formless awareness that lies beyond them. So we get these glimpses while we're here on the timeline, but they are little, almost like, think of it as a doorway. The Holy Spirit shows us, and it shows us the doorway, and we look through and we're like, wow, there's this like vast, expansive, infinite light. And we get a little glimpse of that, and we download that, and that changes our perception. But it's just a glimpse of the ultimate truth. And the more we glimpse it, the more we start opening the door a little bit by little bit, the more we start going into it, and it starts to become more and more real to us. Well, eventually we're ready just to merge back in and accept that as our true reality. Okay, so what's he saying in number 4?
So I'm saying here that the Holy Spirit has no function apart from the connection. Well, it's saying that the Holy Spirit's function is to help us reunite with Source, and it doesn't have any other purpose.
Yeah. Well, if it's just the memory, right? You see it. If you define it as the memory of perfect love, then it must be in my mind to be the memory, yeah. But it's the memory of that which is deeper in my mind. So it connects me with my source, this deeper awareness that I've denied.
Yeah.
And it's the remembrance is what will take me back into that state fully. So if you define it that way, that makes complete sense. You're not trying to make it into another entity. I think the theologians get very confused because they try and somehow make sense of the Trinity, and each one is like some kind of separate entity, and it's not the case. Yeah. It's just the Holy Spirit is the memory, the remembrance of that deeper state, which is the truth. And then I'm accessing that memory from my separate state of mind, because I only need the memory of it if I think I'm separate.
Yeah.
If I'm in it, and I don't need a memory anymore. Then I am it. You see. So the Holy Spirit eventually just fades away because the memory is not required, when you're in the whole state, when you're back in that state fully.
Yeah.
So then it's done its job to return us back to our source. So if you understand it from that point of view, it makes complete sense, doesn't it? That's what the Holy Trinity is.
Yeah.
It's the aspect of the mind, and it's a helpful operating system to help you to find your way back from the separated state back into that true awareness that still is in your mind, and it unites you with that awareness. Once it's done that, its job is done. There's no requirement for a memory anymore. Interestingly, he says at some point, well, the Holy Spirit is eternal. It will carry on. Which sort of
Yes.
Okay, so what does that mean then? Does it mean we have a memory that we once separated, and that keeps us off the straight and narrow in oneness? No, don't go there again. I don't know. Yeah, that would be one way of interpreting it. But then there would still, if the memory is required, then there would still be some idea of separation, wouldn't there? As long as the Holy Spirit exists, there'd still have to be some idea of separation.
There would. Yes. Yeah.
So that's an interesting point. I would say, maybe that's not the case. In full awareness, once the separation is completely healed and done away with, it's non-existent, there would not need to be any kind of awareness of separation anymore, because that would keep the awareness going, wouldn't it?
Mm.
Yeah. Anyway, so that's just sort of minor
Yeah.
point.
No. Well, it's a thought, an awareness. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think in the end, it's taking us back to the whole thing.
Yeah.
He's saying God is everything, and you'll go back into the state, and nothing else will exist. So there's no need for a memory of that state when you're in the state, and that's all there is. The memory is not required anymore, and everything that seemed to separate you from that is gone. That just disappears from your perception.
Yeah.
That's the full enlightened state that he's pointing us to, in which, I mean, at that point, concepts and everything just fades away. The idea of a Holy Spirit or Christ is irrelevant. It's not necessary. You're just in that state. It is you. You are it, and nothing else is. There's no other awareness.
Yeah.
So the Trinity fades away because it was just needed in the dream world to correct your mind.
Jono, this is really great. I have to go and get my car, otherwise it'll be closed and I'll be without the car.
Yeah.
But I can come back in about, well, half an hour, less than half an hour.
Okay. Why don't we? I normally have dinner at about 5:30 your time.
Yeah. Yeah.
So why don't we reconvene in, say, either at 6 or 6:30, which would be better.
I can do 6.
6.
Yeah.
No. Okay. 6 p.m. your time. And
Yeah.
we'll finish this.
Okay.
All right. See you then.
Okay. Just now, John.
Thanks, John. All right. So we'll come back in just over an hour and 10 minutes, and we'll finish the last 5 paragraphs of this. So hope to see you then. Namaste. Thank you to John and Sally who joined earlier, and hopefully see you a bit later. Namaste.